Alright, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be game 2 of NKT versus T7. Right now, NKT 1 up in this series. They only need one more game. They only need one more game to close it out in a clean 2-0. I believe this camera is a best of 3 or a best of 2. I think it's a best of 3. Yeah, so they need 2. No, they need 3-2. Yeah. Regardless, adaptations that I think are going to be made here. Definitely trying to ban out the Fiora. I think Fiora's gonna get banned. I think perhaps a Callista. Not too sure about that one. Whoa, actually, my spectator client just bugged out. Seems to be a glitch. Let's see if we can get this sorted out. Oh, okay. Something odd happened. So it's just quick technical difficulty real quick. Should be getting back in here soon. Yeah, so a little bit of a semantic war here going on. Just discussion about the rules in terms of ban losses, considering that Jazz is not technically on the ban roster or on the sub roster, so he T7 loses a ban. Excuse me. Just gonna cut to this real quick. Before we get back into this, so you guys can't snoop around in the chat. Alright, come on, y'all. Let's get back into this. So for those of you that don't already know, this is Ascension eSports, and we have these regularly scheduled games every week. This is the Season 4 of Dragon League, which is Bronze to Silver ELO. We also have the Elder League, which is Gold to Plat ELO, which has games same time tomorrow. And then there's Phoenix League on Sundays that have pre-made teams. So, you know, if guys have so bunch of friends that they want to band together and have some competitive fun with, they go to that one. And that one's individual groups, formatted a little bit differently, but ultimately casted in the same fashion. But here we go, getting back into this one once more, and it is bugged again. This is really weird. So to sort out this technical difficulty, I will be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Experiencing some extreme client bugs. Whenever I'd go into the lobby, it would like sort of be half like I was spectating and half like I was playing. I think you guys saw it there. It gets stuck on 27 seconds. At least when we got a chance to like. But then before it would say like no spectating disabled. Tried exiting out, re-inviting, didn't work, had to close out my client entirely, and we had to remake the lobby twice, so that was a little bit of an extensive delay. However, we are getting back into it finally, luckily. Let's see what adaptations these guys are going to make. It might be that long ago because of the delay, however, still fresh in your core. Shaco had a pretty good showing. King Arya on that, one trick, pretty much Shaco. I would like to see Fiora ban as well from T7. Now, it is worth noting that these sides have now switched. And for some reason, client sound is also not working.
Well, now I'm just mad.
So for some reason, there's no client sound effects, but the band phrases are still going through, which is a little bit interesting. So first, Zach ban once more for NKT. To be expected, Zach, you know, like I said before. Pick ban, pretty much always. Now, Shaco ban. Definitely gonna have to take that one away. Try to get him off some of that comfort and force him onto something else that he's not as practiced on. Hecarim as well, gonna continue to clench that jungle pool, as all three bans thus far have all been jungle bans.
Draven out.
Draven, another ADC ban, definitely a counter, not counter, a target ban, excuse me, towards Crusher, which is good. He had a fantastic showing on Callista, was darting in and out of fights, showed very good synergy with Cracked Apple, except for those few moments when they had some sort of miscommunication when Cracked Apple wanted the turret dive, and Crusher was like, hey man, this river looks pretty nice, I'm going to go check it out. However, Gamma Chaos actually locks in the Jace. That's going to be an interesting first pick here, and also not really something that you'd want to first pick, because now it leaves them open to some potential counter picks. Galio would have to go towards the mid lane. I feel like it would be a good flex. Actually, both these picks are pretty flexible. You could give Ariana Grande the Jace. I'm going to check out their stats real quick to see if either of them any playtime on Jace. And it seems that neither of them do at first glance. Yeah, Ariana Grande mostly sticks to Assassins. However, wow, a Nidalee pick from Athrogard. That is a huge shift. Going from Xinjiao to Nidalee. It's like going to 100 to 0. Yeah, literally 100 to 0 AP, and press right click, forget about it, start killing people. Nidalee requires so much mechanics. There's so many micro-intensive animation cancels, things like that. I can't play her. I'm a jungle main. Cannot play Nidalee. I've been trying to for the longest. I'm so bad at her. But who's not that difficult is Olaf. Very strong jungler at the moment, especially after those bomby cinder buffs. You guys really got to check out the tank junglers. I think we'll be back into the meta, although it's a really good time right now for jungle meta. But however, to close this one out, NKT's NKT side, starting with Jace, Olaf, Syndra. So they're going to pick their entire top side, leaving that bot lane for a potential counter pick, which I think is a very good idea, because so much of this game is dictated by the bottom lane. Jungle pressure, where you get that first dragons on bot side. Normally first tower goes down on bot side when everyone starts diving there. You know, bot lane's always the source of the parties. Party down bot lane, classic teleport, but it's going to be another Zyra ban. It's a good adaptation, but really, really good for Azrael to be able to get onto his Caitlyn. That's his comfort pick. Native Wolf has some play on Galio. I think they wanted a little bit more tankiness into that team comp, so they're I believe they're going to put that Galio in top lane to give more tankiness rather than having that Renekton.
Come on. What's the worst that could happen?
So far, good adaptation bans. NKT banning out that Malzahar, who had really strong showing, did more damages than Ariana Grande's Oriana. Should just call her Oriana Grande. But Jinx also going to get banned out. I think it'd be a little bit interesting. I think they're trying to take off some of these hyper carries for Crusher, 'cause that seems to be his forte a little bit.
Your
Those more
commands
traditional
tire
ones.
me.
Interesting Veigar ban, also not entirely a target ban. I don't believe. Gonna do a quick look up to see if Jazz has any of that in his wheelhouse. Corky's a fantastic mid laner right now, as well as ADC. I haven't really seen him much, but mid lane is mostly where he's been seen. Israel actually picked the Morgana first, so Morgana Caitlyn going to be the bot side for it. T7. Tristana would be a pretty good pick here. Some strong snowballing. There's good damage in the rest of NKT's team to get some easy resets in. Would imagine that could pick the Braum in there again. Or actually, Thresh doesn't go well in the Morgana. Targ I wouldn't think would go well in the Morgana either. However, it does have very fantastic synergy with Tristana with the dazzles, as she can jump in and land an easy dazzle. Hopefully they're going to have the communication and coordination to pull something like that off, because it would be very fantastic to see. Now NKT, I believe, are picking their mid laner. Or it could be Nidalee jungle. There's so much flexibility going around right now. I think it's going to their mid lane. I think Alistair. Where's that? Oh, these must be I think these might be placeholder picks. Unless they're actually gonna... Oh, it's Morgana mid. Huh, I never even thought about that. Silly me. Alright, so Morgana mid into Alistair. Actually, this changed the scope very much so. Alistair and Tristana and Tarek is going to be able to push them away in those dazzles. It's going to be less of last game where it was mostly about that level 6 spike. In bot lane, both these teams have some pretty good dueling potential and fighting strength before that level 6. It's not like it was last game. However, Tarek does have a pretty big, probably has the biggest spike out of all 4 of them. With that ultimate, can go completely invulnerable for quite a long time. So fantastic pick. I think Tom Kench would also work pretty well to get this Tristana. Tom Kench is just such a strong pick right now. With how good he is at peeling for hypercarry ADCs with the Devour as well as the map movement. Tarek doesn't really bring that much to the table. He's also kind of difficult to engage with, considering that most of his engage is a flash dazzle. However, that's only in the perspective of the bot lane. When it starts to get to the team fighting stage, he's going to be wanting putting that dazzle onto Olaf, and then letting him run in and get those stuns down while he's using his Ragnarok to prevent himself from being CC'd himself. I think, all in all, a pretty good comp that NKT has drafted for themselves. I'm not so sure how this mid lane matchup is going to go. I mean, Jazz on its Morgana seems to have an affinity for chimps that have purple puddles. But it is pretty good into the Syndra. I mean, you can wave clear against it pretty easily. At least in the early levels, you're not going to be able to outshove her. I don't think at any point you're going to be able to shove her, but you will be able to shield a lot of her damage. Trades are going to be pretty difficult, considering that you need to put the Tormented Soil on her through and then a binding, or the other way around, binding then Tormented Soil. It's probably going to be pretty difficult to pull off, considering that Syndra can use her abilities while she's moving, so it makes her a lot more slippery, and that the minion waves constantly going to be there, so he's going to have to clear those out. Definitely. Other than that, really like the pick. Great adaptation. Seeing that Ariana Grande has very high carry potential. She can black shield her allies or whoever the target of the Syndra ulti may be, and that could mean the difference between a pick and a flopping Syndra. So, smart pick from them. Definite counter pick. We are going to tick down a little bit. Hopefully Gamma Chaos won't have any connection issues. That would be nice for them. Make this a little bit more fair. Good competitive environment. Oh, so the 2 missed bans are for the subs. I think there might be a bug. Okay, so there's a spectator bug. You guys can't see. Oh wait, I think it's because I haven't refreshed. Okay, so the 2 missed bans are because Jazz isn't an official sub, and the same thing with Crusher. So teams have to notify teams have to notify the admins. I believe it's at teams have to notify all roster issues must be reported by Wednesday at 11 p.m. CST to the admins. These were not reported, so they lose a ban for each one. So if you have like one sub that isn't technically supposed to be there, that's 1 ban. If you have 2, or if you have role swaps to make way for a sub, then that'll be 2 lost bans. And I've seen some teams actually end up losing all their bans, and it's pretty difficult. But luckily, they've only lost 2 this game. Because it can actually be pretty bad if you lose that many bans, especially nowadays. Well, more what I mean by that is nowadays with how many picks are strong. However, you get 10 bans, so missing a ban isn't as bad as it used to be in the 6-ban meta. But are going to load here, and I'm just going to transition it over so you guys can see the. I always like looking at the Keystone Masters that these guys go with, considering that King Arya went with I forget what it's called, Storm Raider Surge, which I don't really think it's that good, honestly, because you don't want to be doing damage as Olaf. I mean, it's nice, but you're not going to be doing as much damage as if you just played. Like, if you're going to go Storm Raider Surge on Olaf, you might as well just play a damage jungler. That would benefit more from it. Like, you pick Olaf because, you know, he's got good snowball potential, is really strong early game ganks, and is extremely tanky and hard to peel off. Sure, that does, exemplify that hard to peel off stat when it gives him more movement speed, but the whole point of it is that it's to chase people. So if you have to get to them in the first place before you can get the movement speed, it's sort of like an oxymoron, if you guys get what I mean. Whereas if he went Bond of Stone, he gets continuous slows. He gets extra HP, which is huge. 5% extra HP is massive, especially towards that late game. And then it helps his team. He's got a hyper carry. He's got a hyper carry Tristana and a full metal and Jace, who's going to be dealing a lot of damage, especially from auto attacks as well. So it heals his teammates a lot more. And considering that he has a assassin top laner, he needs to be more tanky. But I imagine he'll just go the Storm Raider Surge for the early game and then go tanky the rest of it. Just not entirely in agreement with it, is all. On the other side of the Rift, though, T7 just going with some fairly standard Keystone Mastery picks, nothing too special there. We're going to get into this. Let's see how it goes. T7, if you guys are just joining us, T7 did lose the first game in pretty dominating fashion from NKT, even though despite having some connection issues, we were able to close it out very, moderately cleanly. Not too many mistakes in terms of closing it out. They got there. Destination matters more than the journey. Don't let them deceive you. It's the destination that matters. Man, this directed cam is so weird. There you go. That fixed it. Sweet. So a little bit of an interesting fan out here. King Arya is actually going to start on his top side. Which I find to be a little bit interesting, considering that he has a harder leash on the bot lane. I think he wants just for the mana regen. Or if he wants to finish down bot side. Both junglers are actually going towards his top side. Not sure if that's actually where Athergot's going to start, though. Did start her traps first. Is going to go for that level 1, or going to go for the Raptor start. It's pretty clever. Gives you a little bit more of an XP bump, especially for Nidalee, who struggles taking Raptors early game. It's going to make it a lot easier for her to clear. So fairly standard item builds. The beginning also very standard. Only real deviation from what we normally see is that Crush of the Bomb went with a Doran's Shield rather than a Doran's Blade, which is to be expected considering the weaker early game of Tristana towards Caitlyn. They're going to be getting hit by auto attacks a lot considering that's pretty much Caitlyn's bread and butter. So oddly enough, Jazz actually didn't do a Raptor Leash. Should still be able to finish it off easily though. Just getting kind of low here. It is a pretty difficult start for Nidalee to do that. Personally not a fan of it. Ooh, that is really bad. Gamma Chaos actually took blue buff accidentally. Oh my gosh. And Olaf is really relying on blue buff. Oh, he disconnected again. Oh, this might... I imagine this might be a remake. Yeah, I'll have to transition over. Yep. Can you go to the standby? Just real quick. Until we figure out what this issue is having connection issues once more. Very unfortunate. But, if this does end up being a remake, this is that would be good news for NKT considering Gamma Chaos accidentally stole the blue buff. No, a remake would just be a clean restart, so it would be the same game, same bans, and same bans, same champion picks, everything. I think, although it might be too far in for that to occur. But we are just going to go back to it. Gamma Chaos back to his lane. So this actually spells really bad news for King Arya, considering he doesn't have his blue buff. He really just can't clear now. Like, it's so massive that the early game might just be completely lost off of this blue buff being gone, because King Arya is not going to have any early game pressure. He's not going to be able to do any ganks, especially if Arthur God with his strong early clearing and strong early ganking. King Arya is not going to be able to respond to any of that, and he's just going to be sitting farming in his jungle for quite some time until he can scale up enough to get his next blue buff, maybe. But it's really difficult as for this to happen as a jungler. He's already forced to have an early back. Luckily, he does have his talisman, which gives him a little bit of mana regen, but he's extremely reliant on blue buff to clear. This is going to be such a difficult early game for him. Oh wow, that's slight mechanical outplay. Native Wolf used the Justice Punch to interrupt the To the Skies from Gamma Chaos and completely negated all that damage. So this bot lane right now, as you guys are seeing this, extremely equal, besides Crusher having a slight CS lead. Arthur Guard lands a spear, but Ariana Grande being that close to the tower, not going to want to be going in on that. Oh, actually, lands a spear over the wall, and she's going to be able to hop, skip, jump, but she's going to get dodged out. Not enough damage there, and no follow-up from Jazz besides a missed Q and Tormented Soil, so no sums ultimately burned for Ariana, but the pressure is still there. She's now chunked extremely low. I think kill threat. Don't think Arthur God is going to go for that, though. But he's still sticking around. Still sticking around, trying to maybe pick up that kill. We'd rather just go for the farm, though. Yeah, Ariana got me very low. It's like a little bit of a role reverser from last game. Considering Ariana Grande in the early game had a lot of pressure going down. So really these lanes, not too much gonna happen, especially Galio top. I mean, Galio is kind of the premier pick to go into magic-based champions like Cassiopeia or Rumble, so it's a little bit less effective here. But here comes King Arya actually going for the top. Directed Cam, what are you doing? Oh, Directed Cam was actually way 2 steps ahead of me, knowing that that gank wasn't going to really amount to much. But yeah, so this Galio pick gonna get really outsustained by Gamma Chaos, which is, so that lane's gonna lose in pressure and in CS, which is unfortunate. However, somehow still winning the CS game. It's really crazy when you think about it, because ranged into melee is such a tough matchup for the melee. And I imagine once it starts to scale up a little bit higher, it's gonna be more difficult for the Galio. Cracked Apple eats quite a bit of damage, goes down to about 33% HP. It's gonna munch on those biscuits, but here comes Arthurguard. Actually wants a little bit of this action. Positioning over the wall, does land the spear, but teammates aren't in position to follow up. Now the pings are coming down, tries to land a second spear, goes wide. So they're just gonna abandon ship on this dive. Smart from them. Now it's worth noting that Gamma Chaos' build right now, opting for that Serrated Dirk early. However, Native Wolf's Glacial Shroud is going to do quite a bit to stop that, because the way lethality works, well, lethality and flat armor penetration has always worked, is that it excels against targets who have low amounts of armor because it's flat. Whereas things like Last Whisper and Lord Dominic's Regard scale off percentage armor. So the more armor it has, the more armor the target has, the more it penetrates. Sort of. It's very mathematical, but the gist of it is that if someone has low amounts of armor, i.e. Carries or other squishy targets, you want to go flat pen, and if targets have high amounts of armor, you want to go percentage. But well, that was a good Q onto Ariana Grande as Arthurguard goes in there, continue this, and he lands another one. Flash into the hop and skip jump, still takes out Ariana Grande even though she burned her flash herself. Quite an unfortunate set of circumstances. But now in the top lane, Gamma Chaos getting aggressed, or rather aggressing upon Native Wolf. Justice Punch using that little dash backwards gets interrupted by Gamma Chaos. Arthurguard is now over, stealing those raptors. Yeah, it's worth noting that Arthurguard has a pretty much non-existent level 6 power spike besides getting the stats in armor. Oh, huge chunk of damage goes down on the Native Wolf. Yeah, so that purple part of his health bar, that's magic damage. Gamma Chaos does no magic damage. So he essentially loses out on that large part of his passive. Which is the unfortunate part about picking this Galio into a Jace, which is a little bit curious, you know. It's plainly just a poor pick. I mean, even the Renekton probably would have been a little bit better considering he's manaless and can sustain a lot through the damage. Has some mana sustain off the Call the Meek, or health sustain off the Call the Meek, but headbutt, body slam, or rather, oh actually, never mind. King Arya is here to gank down the spot lane. Ezreal's going very low. Now they're trying to move on to Country Boy, and a good insect maneuver from Crusher the Bomb puts him farther away from his tower. He's going very low. Smart to save his flash, but is it going to be enough? One more auto attack does it, and Crusher the Bomb flashes to get that one down. Good gank, double kill down in the bot lane, and it's similar to what we saw last game with King Arya having an early gank bottom and a double kill happening, putting both kills on the Crusher the Bomb. And this is huge now. He's sitting on his BF sword. He's going to be getting that Infinity Edge super early. Right now the only winning lane is mid lane. And I mean, Galio isn't really going to do much, but another spear goes down to the King Arya. Arthurguard wants to get in there and take that kill. Good animation cancel is going to secure it. This is going very, very poorly for NKT. Sort of. I mean, Arthurguard's doing pretty well in this early game, but NKT has so many advantages right now. That was a little bit presumptuous of me. I mean, I could see Arthurguard sort of snowballing this one out, but that would be extremely difficult. Although two advantages do lie within, or the only advantage on NKT lies within their ADC. So if Arthur Guard can get some good Qs, some good spears, have the aim, then they could totally bring this one back. And speaking of the aim, Gamma Chaos eats a spear to the face. Now he's getting chunked pretty low, goes down to about 30%. Smite goes down onto him so low. Winds of War gets flashed out, as well as a good sidestep's going to dodge out that spear, but the damage is done. It can now shove up that lane, and he might be forced to burn his TP to get there and soak up all that CS. So you hit a bit of a reprieve. This early game ultimately being won out by Arthur Guard. Simply, I almost want to say just off that blue, getting handed over. Because there's no response from King Ari. He couldn't do anything. It's just simply that, because he's so reliant on blue. But I digress. It's in the past now. We were looking towards brighter futures. And speaking of brighter futures, the gold lead once more within NKT. 1,000, almost purely based off the kill lead that Crusher has. Yeah, he actually has 1,000 gold over his enemy ADC. As well as a little bit from the CS lead that Gamma Chaos has over Native Wolf. 20 is pretty substantial. It only takes about 16 CS to equal a kill lead. Considering that Gamma Chaos has 20 CS over Native Wolf, that's about a kill and assist worth of gold. I think while I was talking about that, Ariana Grande got chunked out by a gank. The blue has spawned for Gamma Chaos. But Arthur Guard is actually just running around in his jungle, stealing everything that he can. If he goes to this bot side, he's going to find that it's completely barren. King Arya went mid lane trying to get something, but he's not really going to find anything. Good news for him, he's actually equal in CS to Arthur Guard. Now, this is actually kind of important that he's shoving this out. So because King Arya shoved out that lane into Jazz, when Jazz gets back, he's going to miss some CS because the wave would be at the tower while he was buying and then in transit backwards. So it's pretty good for them to be able to get that. And that's going to sort of lessen the lead that he has over Ariana Grande. It looks like Arthur Guard's trying to position for yet another gank, but is just going to clear out this control ward. I gotta say that I'm definitely impressed with this play on this Nidalee. You know, showed some pretty good decision making as Xin Zhao in the last game. Now to switch gears quite a bit on this Nidalee. Doing a pretty good job. His pings are coming down onto him as he's soloing out this dragon. Gonna need a little bit of help. Really, really smart from Arthur Guard. He's single-handedly winning this early game. 2 kills on him. The only kills in the game are on the side of T7 are in Arthur Guard. Then picks up the dragon. NKT's trying to make a response happen here by taking the Rift Herald, but they're wise to it. Arthur Guard knows he's the jungling maestro. He's coming down. Flash over from Native Wolf. They want to get in there. Can they smite it away? They cannot. It goes over to Gamma Chaos. Finishes it off. Now return kill onto Native Wolf, but Arthur Guard is still there. Ariana Grande comes in with a big stun. Stuns up both of them and picks it up. Ultimately a 2-for-2 trade. Well, 2-for-2 as well as the Olaf getting that Rift Herald, but and a huge difference from last game is that Crusher the Bomb on Kalista didn't have very good sieging potential. Neither team did because of their ADC picks. However, with a Tristana, she has some of the best sieging in the game. She can put down the charge onto towers and chunk them down extremely quickly. And with the Rift Herald is going to exalt that even more. If you put a Rift Herald in one lane and then a Tristana in the other, it'll be like having 2 Rift Heralds essentially, because she just does so much damage to towers. Now, It is really difficult for teams to play around Rift Herald because it requires such quick response. So the onus is within T7 to respond really quickly to any sort of pressure that they have, because especially with this sort of team comp, with how much split push they have and tower take potential, it's definitely necessary for T7 to have quick reactions, because they'll lose towers really quickly. Just to check into the item builds really quick. Scratch that, never mind. King Arya wants to talk about some ganks. And it was a short conversation, considering he didn't even throw out an undertow. This is a really tough situation for Native Wolf. He could potentially get dove here. Want to just kind of chunk out the tower. Winds of War doesn't land on the waves where it should be. Gamma Chaos eats a spear, but he jumps in. Oh wow, he gets chunked out really quickly. Native Wolf tries to follow in and save his cat, but he's gonna potentially go down. No, that is so close. I think he's gonna get dove here. Yeah, Rift Herald goes out. This should be the first tower. No, he gets caught with a shock blast. Some nice aim from Gamma Chaos. Picks that one up. As well as first tower. That's huge. NKT now well within the lead. 4,000 gold lead for them. Now T7, what is your response? They're just shoving down this top lane tower. This could be 2 towers with no response. It is going to be the second tower falling, and that's going to expand the gold lead to 3,000 more gold. That is massive in this early game. 5,000 gold lead at 17 minutes. Last game it was a 5,000 gold lead for NTK at 15 minutes. Losing pace just a little bit, but well within the lead, none the same. Now it's a similar story to last game where T7 is at the disadvantage and trying to find a way back into this one. The mid tower is pretty low, so they could try to make a shove for that happen, but gotta get their ADC scaling. And I'll talk about these items a little bit. Merlin Omicron on Ariana Grande against the components for Merlin Omicron from Jazz, but hold on there one moment. Aethelgard lands a good Q, dashes in, picks up Ariana Grande. It's gonna be 2 dead for NKT, and the snowball continues from Aethelgard. They have the gold lead, but what does it mean if they're not getting objectives? And that is exactly what is happening here. Mid tower falls. T7 trying to claw themselves back into this one. And good thing that Nidalee's got some pretty good claws herself. 4 pairs actually, because that's how many legs Cougars have. This could be potential double tower take to equalize it. Yeah, it looks like this is definitely going to go down. The siege from Caitlyn so strong. They put T7. It's actually having such a great showing with this macro play. Get both towers to equalize that tower trade. Then they put their top laner down bottom to stop that push. Similar to what NKT did last game. Looks like they're taking pages out of each other's books for this macro play, but definitely a great adaptation for T7. Not sure how long they're going to be able to hold that tower. It is fairly low here. Yeah, it just has a few hits on it before it falls, and it's not going to be difficult for Crusher to take it down. Has that Infinity Edge as well. Both ADCs sitting on Infinity Edges, actually. Things seem to be looking a little bit equal across the board. Besides this top lane. Top lane is a huge discrepancy. Nearly a 50 CS lead. Yeah, 3,000 gold lead. Oh, but hold on to that gold lead. King Arya uses his Ragnar, catches out 2 members of T7, and they are chunking them down. 2 flashes burned for T7 Native Wolf. Smart use of that blast cone to get out, but they could continue to chase this. Doesn't look like they're going to. Gonna back off and take the tower for their troubles. Next Drake is Ocean. It's going to be spawning here in a few seconds, and right now NKT are in a great spot. Yeah, if you look at your minimap, you can see Gamma Chaos actually shoving this out. So right now, all NKT have to do is wait for Gamma Chaos to shove it out, and then they can make a split push play. Try to get on there. He's nearly up to the Nexus towers, and T7 hasn't made a response just yet. Yeah, okay. Down bottom, you can already see a channeled recall from Native Wolf, but let's see how much damage is going onto that tower. nearly at half health now, and it could be going down here. Native Wolf late to this. Game of Chaos, just take the tower! Game of Chaos, take the tower! It's so low. Look how low it is. 2 hits on it. All it needs is 1 more wave, and he'll be able to get that tower. I think down bottom there's actually a fight going on. Yes, there is. It results in the death of King Arya. Yeah, that could be. There goes the tower. And this is that top lead that we were talking about earlier. That's going to be an inhibitor. 20-minute inhibitor. The only thing that T7 are going to be able to get for their troubles is this Ocean Dragon. It looks like they want to peel off with that one too. It should be able to get it. It's running pretty low on mana, which is why I had to switch to Hammer form. He's regenerating mana very rapidly. Ooh, so clutch that T7 was able to get there in time. Yeah, immense amounts of pressure. This top lane, this Galio pick not working at all for T7. Nearly 70 CS lead. Let's look at the gold number. Holy crap, yeah. 3,000 gold in the top lane matchup alone. That 3,000 gold is literally the entire gold lead that NKT has. Game of Chaos right now is massive. Absolutely massive. And part of the issue is Native Wolf's item build. He went with armor, and I was going with more armor, but he doesn't have any health to back it up. And with the penetration that Game of Chaos has built, it essentially means the armor is worthless, because it's just going to cut right through it anyway. He needs the health to back up his armor. I think he's going to go for a Gargoyle Stone Plate next, but that only gives you health when you activate it. So he's going to have 6 seconds of HP, and then he's going to fall down to about the same HP that he had before it. So really not too much effectiveness going to be had there. And looking at these item builds. Yeah, it's really interesting that Aetherguard is actually having the best showing on T7 as a sub. I mean, 5's 2 and 2. The only one other person on his team with kills is Jazz, who is also a sub. Sub squad OP if you're T7 right now. Yeah, we're just gonna go into a little bit of a siege mid right now. NKT have all their lanes shoved up, so you can freely take this mid tower as soon as it all crashes. Bot lane though, someone's gonna need to respond to that wave. This is a little bit different from last game. We are seeing NKT in the lead, but because of the draft, both teams going for that late game scaling. Not too much is happening just yet in this early game. I mean, sure, you could argue this. A lot of kills being exchanged, a lot of towers going down. But it's purely because of the picks. My goodness. That was crazy damage. They're actually going for this Baron. They're going to get it. There's no response. T7 has no idea that this Baron is happening. There's no vision. They saw everyone go down towards bot side, so they made the call to go for this Baron. Jazz is the only one that's wise to it. Might throw a ward over. Does it? He stole it! He stole the Baron with the Tormented Soil. Holy crap. Goodness gracious, that's going to mean that Game of Chaos is going to have to backpedal out of that bot tower range. He's going so. I'm dumbfounded. I can hardly. King Arya is mentally facepalming or physically facepalming right now. That is so massive. Got greedy with the early smite. They didn't have the deep wards that they needed to. And now he's trying to get his revenge onto Jazz for stealing that Baron. Ooh, but a good Black Shield blocks out both dazzles, so no stuns happening. Flashes over the wall, and that's going to mean that bot lane tower falls. However, he seems to be overstaying his welcome just a little bit. Could be getting stunned up here. Does get stunned, and now the ulti from Cinder goes down onto him. However, return kill from Aetherguard goes down. This is bot lane tower. Game of Chaos is having such a difficult time trying to clear this out. This game went from 0 to 100. Flash dazzle from Cracked Apple. He wants to go try to take down. Never mind, there's fights happening everywhere. And Azriel gets blown up. Now Country Boy is next on the chopping block. Crusher jumps forward, tries to take him down. So much damage being exchanged everywhere. And meanwhile, King Arya was on the chase. Arthur Guard goes down as well, with nearly all the Baron buffs gone. Luckily for T7, Baron buff still well within the hands of Native Wolves. Going to get that tower for their troubles. However, easily going to be traded in this mid lane. Not many things to stop them from it. The damage is done bot lane. That turret is pretty low. Oh, there goes down this mid lane tower. Man, I still can't get over that Baron steal. I mean, you can argue that Jazz had a good tormented soil, but that was just an awful smite from King Arya. I mean, oh my god. They had it in the bag. They needed to put some wards over. They should have paid a little bit more respect to the roaming potential of Jazz. That was ridiculous. So a little bit of a reprieve. Many objectives have fallen. Dragon's about to spawn in 30 seconds. Baron is down. I believe the only one that has it is Neverwolf. I think it should be down as well. Nope, Baron's still up. Should be for about 30 more seconds. But now both teams eyeing this dragon. However, T7 first to the pit. Had that pressure. Have the control word in there. Now they're going to get the Scuttle Crab. Ooh, actually, Afterguard misses the smite. At least he didn't miss the smite on Baron. That would have been much worse. Israel getting chunked out. This is a difficult position for T7 to be in, considering the poke power that Gamma Chaos has. But there's the engage from Country Boy, and now comes the grand entrance. And a Justice Punch goes on to Cracked Apple, but he's invulnerable. However, now that it's over, he's taking lots of damage. On the bottom part of that, though, oh, the tackle knocks him backwards, and now they're trying to continue chasing this one out, but the mobility is in the favor of NKT. Arthurguard trying to throw out spears, but the acceleration gate attempts to dodge that one out. They don't have the vision for this. Neither team does. As you can see, no wars being had. In the top side, though, Ariana Grande taking out with a huge wave the inhibitor, and Native Wolf forced to respond with his teleport. So very good macro being played here by NKT, but overstep from King Arya. He's not on Shaco. He can't just press R and then Q and get out. 1 and 5 for him, the most deaths on his team. Hopefully NKT isn't playing the Blame the Jungler game, but it is a poor performance for him, to say the least. Loses Baron, is now feeding. Unfortunate. And as a result, T7 picking up that dragon. It's going to help their siege even more. They are sitting on all dragons. Fortunately, it is known that you can only get 3 of the elements. There are no avatar teams to be had. Only get fire, rock, and water. So it's going to go back to a little bit of this farm game. Arthurguard still within a pretty good lead, especially over the enemy jungler, but it's not really it's so difficult to try to snowball this hard when so many members on NKT are this fed. So Country Boy definitely going to get cut out here. Yep, good body slam from him. Gets himself out as well as burning that ulti. It's a little bit of a reprieve once more. NKT is now going to have to play this pressure game. Push up this bot side while that top inhibitor is out. You'll see 5 members actually grouped up from T7, but this is really what they can't be doing. That wave top lane is mounting. As you can see, the pings come out to it. They are pinging. Actually, that's NKT's pings going on to that top wave. They're wise to the game plan, though. And the game plan is to let that wave shove in and let it be that 6th member and do a 4-1 or a 3-2. Put Jason that bottom side. Try to get him onto that inhibitor tower, or inner tower rather. Native Wolf's having a pretty difficult time clearing this out. He might actually die to the minions. That just goes back to him not having any health. There's no effective HP for him, but here it goes. Pressure the bomb, actually getting chucked super low. Heal from Targ means little to nothing to stop that burst. Yeah, the pick potential right now from T7 is absolutely massive. And you already saw it there. If mid lane and jungle on their team can land their Qs, that is certainly a dead person. Gamma Chaos burning the Yomo's Ghostblade to try to get onto Ezreal, but gets cutted out. Alright, now the pressure in both side waves. This is a good opportunity for NKT to push up mid lane, put Jace towards that bot side, try to get that turret. They're gonna put him mid though. Considering that Tristan is dead, he sort of acts like the backup ADC. Every league team needs a good backup ADC for when one of them is inting, you just have the backup one. It's like you never lost in ADC. Gamma Chaos is actually massive right now. It's 3 items. It's pretty early, building towards what I would believe be the GA. Yeah, both ADCs inching towards those 3-item power spike. Tristan actually just got her last whisper, so she's going to be dealing a lot of damage. Not very much armor on the side of, or not very much HP I should say, but there goes the headbutt pulverized from Country Boy, as well as the heroic entrance trying to knock some people down. But on the top side of this, you look at your minimap, a duel from Jace and Nidalee. But Crush of the Bomb is just laying down the damage. They're trying to run away from this one, but Red Buff makes it so difficult, and there goes the first casualty. This is going to be Country Boy going down, and now Ezreal stuck in a bad spot there. Ulti goes down onto the Jazz, but he flashes down, not enough damage to finish him off. And Vulnerability goes down onto 3 members. Crush to the Bomb leaps forward, tries to find the damage. He is going to pop. Cool Guys don't look like explosions, and Crusher the Bomb is no exception. It's going to be a 3-for-0 net win for NKT. Now they have their eyes set on Baron, but let's just hope. I'm crossing my fingers that King Arya can land this freaking smite. Again, they don't have deep wards. See if Jazz is going to have a repeat play. Yeah, the pings are coming down. Jazz is trying to get in there. Good thing Cracked Apple's there to zone out Jazz. He wants to get Tormented Soul. Isn't able to get it. Much improved. They're able to get the smite down. Good news. This isn't the end. I mean, it is Baron, but it doesn't mean the complete loss of the series. There's still an inhibitor that just respawned, so they have their hopes in that. If you're T7, it means that there's not that 6th man anymore constantly pressuring you. It takes so much resources to be attended to. Arthur Guard might actually find, he does find Ariana Grande. There goes the damage, so much burst. Fail flash faceplant into the wall, but what a huge ulti. And that's just Syndra for you. And you're going to see in all chat, Ariana Grande says, ignore that flash, however. It is written in stone. Everyone saw it. I saw it. The viewers. And Ezreal caught on the wrong side. Oh, takes a page out of Ariana Grande's book. Face plants into that wall with that flash. There goes the hero's entrance to try to save his ADC, yet she is now dead. Crush to the Bomb goes very low, but jumps back. Starts to chunk out Country Boy. He's the first casualty, and then Native Wolf to follow. Hops the wall looking for more. Isn't going to find anything. Isn't going to find anything but towers. There is this Baron buff going to work, as you can see his tower get chunked very low. King Arya, despite his feeding, is still effective as a tank. Third guard, you're going to go for this? Yeah, I'd advise against that, buddy. Yeah, these are these towers falling, inhibitors following suit. You can see Ariana Grande actually towards the bot side taking out that one as well. Could continue the push, but NKT are just going to play it safe. Now gold lead 9,000, absolutely massive, 35 minutes. Arthurguard trying to find Ariana Grande, but he gets destroyed himself. Had Zhonya's, should have Zhonya's that ulti. Ariana Grande flexing her muscles a little bit, deals quite a ton of damage. That Leandri's Torment. Meanwhile, Ocean Drake gonna get picked up. Now, small intricacy with this Ocean Drake. It means a lot more than you guys might imagine, just because in siege comps especially, having mana and HP is really, really important to try to keep the pressure under their tower or have the constant threat of the dive. And just to stay topped off on your HP so that you can have enough health to be there and siege that tower. And just kind of sit around and see if someone missteps. But only one tower now left for Team 7. You're going to have to defend this one extremely well if they want to try to win this. And it is the new Thorn Mail. If you guys want to see it, it gives it 250% HP, and it also has also puts grievous wounds onto the attacking target. So buffed Thorn Mail is going to mean a lot for tanks nowadays. Holy crap, that was a crap ton of damage. Yeah. Yep, she dead. In other words, Crush to the Bomb doing just that. Absolutely plowing through this T7 lineup. Is behind the tower. Doesn't care. What's a tower? Cracked Apple's actually going to fall. No, nearly does. But yeah, Crusher overstepped her boundaries too much, and now Gamma Chaos is aggressing onto Country Boy. He's going very, very low, but ultimately escapes with his life narrowly. Accelerated Shock Blast gets eaten up by the minion. However, meanwhile, topside, with no defensive towers there, Ariana Grande was able to just go around and clean that one up, and that is going to be a game 2. Azrael, what are you doing? He's trying so hard to make this work, but he is going to eat all those balls in his face. Goes down. Now, Arthurguard picks up one for his troubles. Got to pat down that KDA. It's going to be the Nexus. A little bit of BM. Pat down their scores with some CS. Any day now. And there it goes. That will finish it off for game 2. NKT take the next game. So 2-0 right now. Yeah, both teams actually are coming off of a loss here, so this is a huge morale boost for NKT. Oh, wrong scene, my bad guys. Alright. Yeah, Game of Chaos, a huge showing from him, absolutely dominating that top lane. He's able to get that 2 towers with teamwork from his jungler, getting that Rift Herald, and it brought them into such a huge gold lead, and then the inhibitor to boot, and that made it so that T7 could hardly do anything to counteract the pressure, and it was almost a 4v5 for a lot of it, considering that the Galio was relegated to just clearing out that top lane continually. He almost couldn't do just that. So we're going to go to damage graphs a little bit. Surprising to no one, Gamma Chaos had a huge damage share, as well as Crusher following very close behind. Some good adaptations from both these teams, but ultimately it was not enough for T7 as they fall victim to yet another snowball from NKT. So you look at the wards. All right, for jungles and supports, wards destroyed is a very good, very important stat. Shows how much they're prioritizing denying vision, which can be crucial to winning these games. Yeah, unfortunate for T7, namely for Arthurguard. He had such a great showing on this Nidalee, at least towards the early parts of the game, almost single-handedly won it. For NKT, despite losing the blue buff, still able to close it out with some pretty good, clean macro. Both teams progressively getting better throughout the series, which is a great thing to see, no matter who you are or which team you're a fan of. But that will do it for Game 2. I believe there will be a Game 3, so we'll be right back.